It's Mishiro! Oh, thank goodness. You're all right.
Yes, more or less.
So, where's Yuki? But like, as long as we have our leader back, that's all that matters, right?
That's right.
What's good, anime enthusiasts? Welcome to the thrilling conclusion for Scrap Building, the 10th death game for Yuki. And man, I gotta say, this one, in every single anime series, there's always gotta be those one, maybe two episodes that fall flat, or they're a little bit meager, or they just don't hit the same. This is one of those episodes. Now, it's still high up there as far as everything around is concerning. It's just a, I guess for like a bit of a term or way to say it, pullback. Or while there's still like the suspense and thriller behind it, it's kind of mellow, it's chill. Your heart's not gonna race that often. You're just gonna be thinking mentally a lot. Your mind's going to go, but your body isn't gonna like rise in tension, if that makes sense. Also, we can actually see an actual weakness in anime, and I don't seem like a glazer for this anime for this whole entire time, because there is an action sequence in this episode that really feels weak in my opinion. And could they have done better? Yeah, but at the same time, it is sort of a limitation that they put on themselves for the type of animation style that they're going for. So much so that this whole action sequence just kind of goes yeah. But that is a sacrifice I believe they made, and they tried to do the best they could. With that, I mean, still it is there, and I will have to, notch it down an episode because of that. But everything else afterwards, we get a little bit more story on the outside. We get to peel back the layers even more. And you get a little bit of understanding of this deranged world, that it's so interesting at the same time, and I like it. Also Mishiro going up there in the character tiers. Why? Let's get into it, because immediately in the beginning of this episode, we got 2 hours left in the game. Time's winding down, and Yuki is still waiting for Mishiro's answer. And Mishiro isn't saying anything, and Yuki is like talking to her. And Yuki's like, all right, I'm gonna give you a countdown. Once I hit 0, I'm leaving you. And she begins start counting down. And then Mishiro's internal ego is just talking to her. It was like, hey, we can still break her like the others. And Mishiro was like slowly putting together. It's like, okay, I ain't gotta take this. And she says, don't be ridiculous. She stands up and she dashes past Yuki, like putting her to the ground. And Yuki is just left there on the ground, sitting stunned, like, what just happened? And then it clicks in Yuki, and she starts running after Mishiro. And then her internal monologue happens. Yuki is like, I was only teasing her. I would have saved her regardless, but I feel something. I feel affection. It's like Yuki just touched the softest part of Mishiro's heart, is what Yuki said. And she did, she brought Mishiro down to her knees, literally. And when you keep dogging on somebody who believes they're on the top and put them in that situation, you get either one of two things. Either A, they're gonna submit, or B, they're gonna fight back out of that corner. And that's what Mishiro did. And Yuki felt her drive push her back. And then Yuki's like, dang, she's cute. I can't let her die. Yuki, thank you. Don't let the princess die. Don't let my bias die. But unfortunately, Mishiro gets blindsided by the wolf. And the wolf pounces on her and doesn't dig into her, but fights against her bag. And then Yuki throws a rock at the wolf, and Yuki's like, yo, Mishiro, I like you. I like what you're doing. Exit over there. I'm gonna take care of this wolf. And the wolf immediately turns his attention towards Yuki, pounces on Yuki, And Mishiro just dips. She's gone. She's out of there. And then Yuki and the wolf square off. Now, this is unfortunately the weakness that I was alluding to in the beginning, is that this whole wolf attacking Mishiro, the tackle by the wolf, that was okay. The pouncing on Mishiro, getting into her bag, and then the wolf then pouncing on Yuki, and then Yuki and the wolf kind of fighting. It's a little small struggle, but the whole sequence, it lacked impact in when the wolf pounced on Mishiro and the wolf pounced on Yuki. It lacked the impact. There wasn't like fear, which makes sense because Mishiro's just probably already tired, and then Yuki is just stone cold, doesn't show any emotion. But I guess I'm looking for some crunch or some grittiness to it. But unfortunately, with I believe the art style and animation that they're going for, they can't really give a quick, fast-paced kind of gritty kind of style like a Battle Shonen is looking for, or something like very smooth animations, because they're not going for that. Remember, it's like it's slow, it's methodical. When we saw the wolf the first time, that makes sense. It's suspense is the thriller. We see the wolf in the corridor. It's stalking. We don't need to see the wolf like immediately like dart up towards the girls or anything. We can just fade to black, cut to the next scene. We already know in our minds what happens. We can imagine it, we can theorize it. But seeing the wolf actually attack Yuki in this scenario, like, we know like a wolf is dangerous, but this wolf doesn't seem, well, the wolf is dangerous, but the way that it's story told, it doesn't have that same fear factor that we had last episode with the wolf. So that's why I say it's a bit of a weakness. There's probably some other things that I'm thinking of that don't come to mind for this. But other than that, that's like the only real big nitpick out of the episode. It's like, dang, the fight with the wolf is kind of and that's really it. Before I forget, during the fight with the wolf, Yuki in our mind is feeling like she's probably fighting for somebody else's sake, even though that she didn't feel any panic or pain, even though the wolf like bit directly into her side. When she got it, like, she felt fantastic. You know, she's dual wielding a knife. She's ready to go. She's ready to mess up the wolf. Of course, we don't get to see it. We don't need to see it, right? So we shift back to the other three girls, but we only see Kotoha and Chie talking. And Chie is mostly just having doubts about Yuki, especially after Yuki like going back. Well, Kotoha is talking like very highly of Yuki. And Keito's not there. She's actually in the restroom. We don't see her. But still, Kotoha and Chie are having a conversation. And Kotoha is willing to tell Chie why she feels so strongly about Yuki, but only if Chie promises to do Kotoha a favor. Chie does so. So Kotoha says that the paper that all the girls got out of their bags is special, and it's used in elections. And the paper is very convenient because it opens back up inside the box, even if you fold it. So what's so about that? Well, they're probably theorizing, we're supposed to use them to vote. And there's also a reason why all the girls are dressed that way. Kotoha doesn't say the reason why. And there's also like no threats on the final floor. So something is waiting at the end. And they're probably going to use these pieces of paper to vote possibly one of the girls out. And, you know, Chie is getting a little bit scared. But Keito comes out of the bathroom. Now, I have to say, Keito probably heard that conversation, because ain't no way that you're going to be having like a very open conversation in a place that echoes a lot while Keito's in the bathroom. She probably heard everything. I'm assuming so. But the three girls, they wait and they wait, waiting for Yuki to come back. But Mishiro appears. Not Yuki, obviously, because, you know, Mishiro went ahead first. And Mishiro looks composed. And she's like stone cold face, even though she looks completely, well, not completely disheveled. You know, she's got like dirt and everything. And of course, she's missing an arm. And Keito's like, oh my god, Mishiro, you're here. Where's Yuki? Oh, wait. What am I worrying about Yuki? we're just glad you're here. Mishiro, yeah, right? Yeah, Mishiro, let's go. Mishiro's like, yeah, I'm here. Like, Kato, stop. As the real mean girl, two-face switch inside having. Alright, let's stop. But we get a scene switch. We're at the final room. And this room is quite a little scary. Because in the middle, there's a bunch of TVs that are stacked on top of each other. Persona 4 reference, if you ever heard of it. And around the room, there are these 6 little, like, small chambers or pod buildings type of things. And they have a big whole tubing system running from those rooms up to the ceiling into some pipes or whatever. And someone is actually speaking to the girls. And when you look at the TV screen, it's just a big stuffed bear. Danganronpa Monokuma would like to have a word with you. And he talks for a bit, saying, "Congratulations, girls," is what I would say, but there's something else. We have a final trial for you all. You must all wait in each of the rooms individually. And the final trial won't begin until all players are present. And they're like, all players? Is Yuki alive? And after that, they enter their rooms. And when Chie drops off Kota into her room, Kota reminds, "Hey, Chie, remember our promise." And so the girls wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until they hear Yuki open the door, come in. She's dragging her feet. We only get to see like one scene of Yuki like walking across, but we really don't need to see Yuki at all. We just know, all we know as the audience, all the girls know, Yuki, it made it. Okay, here we go. Final trial is about to begin. And so, man explains. The girls are instructed to open up their backpacks to find the paper that Kota was talking about. And if they don't have a paper, there's one in the desk provided for them. He also explains about the paper. It's a special synthetic paper used for elections in the country that they're in. Okay. The girls are going to vote for the player who they believe contributed the least in beating the game. And then we get a quick flashback to Kota explaining ostracism. It's the second time this anime had to make me look something up. Ostracism, in layman's terms, exile. It's an ancient Greek system in which dangerous individuals were selected by vote and exiled. And Kotoha, she herself explained to Chie, realized it from the start, but she didn't say anything. Even though she knew it was coming, she even wanted to lead the group the first time when they were playing rock, paper, scissors. But when they lost, she was happy. Because really, she believed that she wouldn't be chosen if she was put in danger. AKA, if Kotoha was actually leading the group, then the group would think that Kotoha actually contributed to them beating the game. Now, for those of you who are watching this or listening to this, remember that point. Think into your mind, who out of all these 5 girls actually contributed the least? Remember that, because that's going to come up at the end. And the promise between Kotoha and Chie was that Kotoha won't vote for Chie, and Chie will not vote for Kotoha. Makes sense. It's a nice deal. And of course, the dresses that they're wearing, as the man explains it, they resemble the chitons. So it's like, hopefully, chitons, wherever it has pronounced. It's an ancient Greek garment. He said, "Hey, that's another hint for the whole voting process." But, and of course, as you know, as you predict, the person who's voted for will die through a drug that they say they took great pains to acquire. Interesting. So it sounds like the makers of the game are going all out for a spectacle or for like high quality things to really put these girls through, whether it be for their deaths or whether it be for the scenery that they're doing. It is really interesting and also a little twisted. And 15 minutes to vote, and if you don't vote, then you'll be considered to be voting for yourself. And then it opens the floor for questions for the girls, and we actually get the questions. One question is, what if 2 players tie for the most votes? Well, the original ballot, the one that you got in your backpack, will be considered stronger in a tie break. If there's still a tie, then there's a runoff vote. Next question. What if we submit a blank ballot or vote for a player who isn't there? Easy. In both scenarios, you voted for yourself automatically. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Illegible handwriting or other acts of God, whatever that means, will count the same. Final question. What happens if a single player casts 2 or more votes? Think about Yuki. Only their first vote counts. If it is difficult to determine, they will treat the first ballot open as the valid vote. Okay. No other questions. Time begins. While the girls are voting, we get a small moment with Mishiro, thinking that if Yuki's gone, she'll be on top again. That's pretty much it. But at the tail end of the voting, the final girl that we see is Chie. She blinks. She says, "What?" And they fades to black. Afterwards, it's raining outside. Not looking too good. And you see like the whole building. And like a shutter door, garage door opens up. And we see Mishiro, Keito, and Kotaha walking out first. And lagging behind, dragging her feet, is Yuki. Chie is not there. So, they're waiting around for something or someone. And they give out some idle sentences, not really meaning anything. But one in particular is that Yuki is saying that the agents aren't here yet. Whoever they are. We'll get there. And then Mishiro admits out loud that she voted for Chihei. And then when she asks, who did Yuki vote for? Yuki just says, I wonder. It was probably Chihei. And through the girls, we know Kotaha voted for Keito. Keito voted for Kotaha. And of course, Mishiro voted for Chie. We don't know who Chie voted for, but there was no tie. All Yuki did was submit 4 ballots with everyone's name on the ballot. Yuki didn't care who got her vote, but it was Yuki's vote that determined the outcome. Pause right here for a moment. So remember, like I said, back in the second episode, I was hoping that when Yuki got the 6 girls ballot or the paper, that would mean something. And it actually did. And you're probably wondering, where did that 4th piece of paper come from? Well, it was in the desk. Yuki has her own. She's got the 6 girls paper. She's got Mishiro's ballot, remember? Because Mishiro's book bag got taken by the wolf. And when Yuki defeated the wolf, she got Mishiro's book bag. So she's got 3 pieces of paper. And the 4th one is the one on the desk. Because the man said if you didn't have yours, the one will be provided in the desk. There's automatically there. So she's got 4. So she's got 4 lined up. That's Kotaha, Keito, Chie, Mishiro. And all Yuki did was just write each of their names individually down on one. Threw them in the box. Let fate decide. And what do you know? Chie got voted out. Here's the deal. I want you all to go try to remember and even go back in the previous 2 episodes. What did Chie do? Realistically, what did Chie do? The jack of all trades, the master of none. What did she really do? Because if you think about it, what Kotaha said made sense. If you led the group, you would be known as somebody who contributed. Keito was the one who led the group in the beginning. Rock, paper, scissors. Okay. Kotaha was the next to lead the group, and she got mined. But hey, she helped the group figure a mine out in a unfortunate way. You can't vote out Mishiro because Mishiro is the leader of the group, self-proclaimed leader. She helped lead the group, and the other girls were okay with it. And Yuki was the one who saved the girls. So, and the 6th girl is already gone. Chie, what did you do? Storytelling wise, it makes sense. So, that's it for Chie. But Mishiro was kind of dumbfounded, baffled, and she questions hey Yuki, did you know everything from the start? And Yuki was like, yeah, it's just all due to my women's intuition. And while they were talking, you see the black cars that are rolling up, and people are getting out. getting umbrellas out to, to shield themselves from rain. And while Yuki's going on, Mishiro just stops Yuki for a moment. She says, "I'm sorry for being impudent." She even bows and she says, "It's clear who is better. Forgive me." She walks past Yuki. Mishiro bowed down. Mishiro admitted who was stronger in the end. Yuki wasn't even looking for it really in the beginning, but Mishiro just came out with it. And then you see these people in suits who are the agents. They come running forward to their respective girl and they start hugging them, which is interesting, especially for the one agent for Chie. That one, she was banging on the door, yelling, and when they go inside, they pick up Chie's bow, and you see them like digging through the stuff and you're like collecting. And it's like, while they aren't saying anything and like the OST is playing, you could probably feel the anguish and sadness that Chie died as you're not collecting the stuffing. So these Asians are like pretty interesting because in the ending scene, we focus on Mishiro, who's talking with her agent. The agent's like, Mishiro, it's kind of rare for you to apologize. So it's like the first time in your life? Then Mishiro's like, "Hey, can you let me crash out for a minute?" And the agent's like, "Hey, yo, do your thing, girl." And Mishiro crashes out in the car. And while the agent is like doing a little talk with Mishiro, not in the car specifically, but we see like a few scenes going by, Mishiro getting her new arm, and Mishiro did it because she felt it was necessary, and she can't defeat Yuki without accepting that kind of reality. And the agent's like, "Hey, you still gonna play?" And Mishiro's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing. I'm gonna keep going until I beat Yuki." And that was it. End of the episode, the end of the scrapbuilding death game. I enjoy the whole adventure so far. I didn't talk about them. I talked to them about it a little bit. Let me go spin back to the agents. The agents are a very interesting like addition to this, like expanding the world. These agents, they're kind of like the guardians of these girls, or very like emotional attached guardians. Because if this whole death game was set up to be like brutalish, these agents would be very monotone. They'll just like escorting the girls. But no, these ones, they have a lot more affection for the girls. Like, why would you hug them in the first place? Why was one like digging through the stuffing, like feeling that sadness for Chie? So however this set up is like they have a different family. Why these agents have these strong emotional feelings for their respective girl? What sort of stake do they have in it? I mean, yeah, they'll drive them around, and it's like in Mishiro's case, and help them out, but how do they fit into all this death game business? Like, do they get paid? Or are they assigned the girls? Or do the girls pick their agents and they just live a life of whatever? Are the agents their handlers? Like, there's so many interesting questions. Is that, oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, if they're guardians, like, what about these girls' parents? What about their other families? Like, do they care? Because the agents now are like their own family. Or maybe the agent is family. Or they're like their actual family member. Who really knows? It's just a lot more interesting questions to figure out. But like I said, even though this episode was overall cool, it is like the lowest one out of all of them, the weakest one. It's all because of that wolf action sequence and the general like mellow feel of the episode. Not so much as like we're not getting like the suspense thriller thing. It's more like it's a lot of explanations, talking, and the only like suspenseful part of it was the actual voting process. But other than that, everything else is chill. And in all series, it's okay to have these episodes that are like chill, kind of pass through. We talk about things. It's unfortunate had to happen at the end of one of the main sections being, the death game. I assume that the main plot points of this anime are the death games. It would have been better if like the mellow chill part would be an episode where we're not playing a death game and we're just having an experience of the overworld or the world surrounding the death game. That'd be cool. But we can't win them all. We can't be perfect in every way. But still, awesome series. Good episode. Can't really complain too much more about it. But let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Who would you vote for in the voting process? Me, I vote for Chie. It's no question whatsoever. I like the other girls too much. Kaito is whatever. But, Kaito did, of course, contribute. If you want to follow the rules of the game, of course, I'm a rule follower. Chie, get out of here. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Any other... With nothing else, I hope all of you have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I hope your day is just a little bit better than it already is. With that, we'll catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.